Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. Just kidding. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta. I mean, I'm not kidding. That is a show. Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How we doing? How are you? I hope you're having a good week. Hope you're having a good week. It's the start of my week here on Tuesday this week. Again, still fishing around for the right schedule, the right times. We'll nail it at some point. Like Jesus to a cross. It's not Easter anymore. I thought I had one extra button. Like, you can't make those jokes anymore because he's risen or whatever, and that's stopped at that point. Anyway, let's see. I always am about to like pin one of the mods' messages, and I almost click put user in timeout every time, which I should do. Should do that. But anyway, hey, okay, so guys, we have quite a wild set of topics today. There's a couple Trump stories, and I usually am just talking about Trump's legal shit because it's constant and it's always changing. It's in flux. And this time I wanted to just add some levity to it because Trump has some comments about the Jews and the black people, the wonderful black people. We have better blacks than other places. I don't know. I've heard they're prevalent in other countries somewhere. Europe, some places. I think they came from Europe, not Poland. They don't let them in. But so he's talking about the black people and the Jews. So you got to talk about that because it's hilarious. But also Trump does have some commentary that goes into some legal issues like abortion, which is becoming yet again a national talking point because it's never going to go away. You know why? Because women keep making mistakes. And that's it. There it is. Oh, lol, I forgot my pill. Oh my God, I took my pill every day and I totally just didn't work this time. Just this time. Sperm jacking hoes. Anyway, that's it. It's never going to stop. It can't stop because some people want, I don't know about you guys, specifically you though, you. Some people want to absolve people of any consequences of their decisions. And they're like, well, I mean, I know it's alive, but I have scissors and no place to put them. So, I mean, these coat hangers aren't going to straighten themselves. And they know that baby hands are the best at bending that hook. It's hit or miss. Usually don't miss. That's the problem. And so there's always going to be people wanting to absolve people of mistakes. No consequences. As long as it furthers some agenda. As long as they can fund it. As long as that funding comes along with some sort of message, which usually is Marxism. And I know I sound like Mark Levin, but as dumb as Sean Hannity. Like not as smart as Mark Levin. Oh my God, these dummies out there killing babies. It's like, come on, Mark. It's like you put your podcast, you can put headphones like on a woman's like baby hump or whatever. And I don't mean like Kevin Hart having sex with a woman. That's a baby hump too. But I mean like if you put the headphones on the baby hump, you can like have them learn German in the womb or whatever, or just listen to Metallica. So then they like old when they come out. But if you just put the Mark Levin show on the baby hump, that's an abortion. So, but as dumb as Hannity, which when they pull the little corpse out in pieces or whatever, he's like, "You're a great American. You're great," to each piece, like that arm or whatever. It's a great American. God, I hate Hannity. I just don't like him. I'm salty tonight. Sorry. I don't know why. Like, I'm salty at these guys. But there's so many people who want the abortion issue to be a national issue because they want a one size kills all rule. They want to have abortion be some level of legal guaranteed so that women don't have to cross state lines like Kyle Rittenhouse to kill someone. I'm sorry. Sorry. Look, if dad jokes had profanity in them, that'd be me, and baby killing. But they really just want that. What the Supreme Court has reiterated over and over and over, not really just one time, just really the one time with Dobbs, they said, yeah, actually, this is not a national issue. This is a state issue. And abortion always was a state issue because it's just a law about a procedure that takes a life. There are lots of procedures that take life, right? One of them is like a euthanasia procedure, man, where you put a gun in someone's mouth and you pull the trigger. That's euthanasia. In Canada, they have a gun, but they don't have bullets there. They have like one of those Acme things where like the sign comes up, but it's got a spear tip on it. So you put that in their mouth and like there's a spear that goes through the back of their head and it says like a little flag drops down and says sorry, right? Like that's the Canadian euthanasia, but that's a procedure. It's a medical procedure and it ends in someone's death intentionally. That's regulated. People don't like it. They're like, oh, we should have a right to kill ourselves. And well, old people who can't afford healthcare, like, or that we don't want to pay for because Canada is a nationalized system. These people want a nationalized system. And in a nationalized system, you definitely have to have death panels. They're not going to call them death panels, right? Like it's dignity panels or like a dignity pill, right? A dignity pill is like just cyanide in a capsule. Whatever. It's like, dignity. Here you go. They always have like a flowery name for it because you're killing someone. But I don't care. Like, I don't care if you want to euthanize yourself. Honestly, I don't. The problem is attaching euthanasia to a nationalized healthcare system. Because once you do that, then it becomes like your life has a price tag on it. It's like, ooh, how much is this motherfucker going to cost? Ooh. Or one pitchfork and a blind farmer, right? Like you just end their life right there. It's not a big deal. It's very cheap. So that's how these systems always work out. Getting back to the point. If you have a nationalized system, then you have a cost-benefit analysis on life. And how you get a nationalized system is abortion. It's one avenue straight towards it, right? You want to nationalize abortion after making it some level of legal. If you nationalize the abortion system, you figure it into healthcare, reproductive care, they cover it. Ironically, right? Like, we're not pro-death, we're pro-choice. Like, it's well, if you make the choice, like the choice is to, it's like pulling the trigger is the choice, right? So they have that. It's always about reframing the words. So now you have reproductive rights, but the rights ensure non-reproduction. That is the right. Reproductive rights don't ensure reproduction. They don't ensure right to reproduction in any way, right? Like, it's like, oh, I have a right to reproduction. Hello, Megan Fox. Like, you don't get that. You don't get like, they don't deliver a womb to you. They like in one of those synthetic dolls, like you go to town. I hope you don't get Lizzo's version. It's heavy. Like that Linkin Park song. But anyway, that's the avenue to all of this, is to nationalize reproductive rights, ensure reproductive rights, which means the right to non-reproduction specifically, to go ahead and do that and incorporate it into the national healthcare system. And with all that, you end up with a dependent group of people, particularly women making bad choices, men making bad choices, and making babies that aren't babies enough, and they get to go. But that leads to every other aspect of nationalized healthcare in some way. It's not the only way. It's not the only way. Guys, these are multifaceted approaches to all of this stuff. You also have the prescription drug problem, right? Where they will allow these companies to make prescription drugs cost $1,600 a month over and over and over again. They're like, and then they get mad and they're like, no, Pfizer, don't do that. Damn it. They'll put Martin Shkreli in jail, right? But for Pfizer, they're just like, and they've got like the little Pfizer NASCAR badge on their suits and stuff. And of course, it's Merck is the same. Like all of these companies do the same thing. And then they're like, oh, by the way, guys, we have a national pandemic. There's a whole shitload of COVIDs running around, like aborted babies that are still running. And we want to kill those with the vaccine that we want to put in people. And we want to nationalize that too. It's all a function of bringing all of healthcare under the national government. That's what they want, because they want to overload the system, make it expensive, make people dependent on it in every way. And women are dependent on abortions in certain communities. Just saying. 1350 ain't enough to describe that stat. But that's by design, of course. It's by design, of course. Because then white people feel bad for those other people. Like, ugh. Those people across the street. By street, I mean the highway in another town. We hope. Right? That's Democrat thinking 101. Build the windmills in their backyards, but we can look at them. So anyway, we're going to talk about abortion because Trump did. That's where that came from. I'm sorry. I'll abort this whole segment. Then we've got another, that's kind of down. Like, as you're talking about dead babies and like Donald Trump voice. I love babies. We have beautiful baby parts here at Planned Parenthood. I've never seen so many baby parts. Well, in the Ukraine, I did. But so we're going to talk about dead babies and Trump and Jews and the blacks. But we're going to do an uplifting story about the Crumbley parents, which were sentenced today. Ethan Crumbley, famed high school shooter. I'm not going to make that joke. That's not a funny joke. Like, and I mean, it's not like dark. It's not a bad, like, it's not a gross joke. It's just a bad, like a terrible joke. Like, it's not good. So I'm going to throw that one away. You should know that it's really bad because I threw that one out while keeping the rest of them. But Ethan Crumbley is a school shooter in Michigan, I think. Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois. I don't know. I think it's Michigan. And don't make the joke. God. He shot kids in a high school and his parents got charged with manslaughter. Which, first of all, those are kids. That's not manslaughter. That's like teen slaughter. But the other thing is, they didn't do it. Like, they didn't do anything to cause the manslaughter. They did not make them die, even unintentionally. And it's a really weird thing we got to talk about, because we have to talk about if we want criminal law to apply to someone for not doing something to stop someone else. And the judge's words on it are really indicative. He's like, look, this is about their failure to see what a reasonable person would see and put a stop to that shit. That's not criminal law in the United States. It's really uncomfortable for people because they're like, these fuckers could have taken that gun away from him and used it on him. Discipline that boy. Blam! And they didn't. Let him play Xbox instead. Probably Fortnite player, that piece of shit. Bet he builds walls and stand behind them. Put those skills to use on the border. But no, they didn't do enough to stop him from shooting other people. And so they're like, okay, we gotta punish these parents. And of course, it feeds into the sympathetic approach to a tragedy. Just like in Newtown, Connecticut, where they're like, look at all the dead children. And Alex Jones is like, nope, not real. I have inside information. You know, the CIA plant, that puddle of water, that's that guy's foot fading into the background. What is this? Globalists? Like, but everybody else is like, the piles of dead children. It's like a fucking Greek funeral pyre. We should have naked oil wrestling for 12 days. We'll call it Greco-Roman. But wait, the Romans didn't exist yet, so that's weird. How did they know? And they stand on these piles of dead children. They're like, we're going to regulate guns now. So you wanted to do this yesterday. This isn't new for you. You didn't have a revelatory moment where you're like, oh, God, dying kids is bad. Now I want to ban guns. You wanted to ban guns. You're like, oh, dead children. Finally, thanks, God. I can stand on these and wave my flag of surrender. I can say guns are bad. You said that before. That's not. And they do this every time. So Ethan Crumbley, his parents are being prosecuted. Well, they're guilty now. They were being prosecuted not because of some facet of American law that makes sense to prosecute someone who who did too much not doing. Yeah, too much not doing. That's not how we do things. They're like, that's too much not doing. If you not did a little less, legitimately, guys, this is the weird thing. If you not did a little less, you wouldn't go to prison. Isn't that weird? How do you not do less? I don't know how to not do, but less. So I'm like, well, you go to prison now. We have to determine if that's how we want the law to be. I mean, we don't have to, our fucking opinion doesn't matter, right? Like it doesn't, but they use the sympathy of dead high school students. Have you met high school students? Not high on the list of sympathetic corpses. Like Newtown, at least they were elementary kids. You feel bad about those. High school kids, like, I mean, I'm sad. But did you read their essays? Oh, God. They weren't going anywhere anyway. Might as well plant them. That was terrible. I'm sorry. I don't mean that. I actually feel really bad about kids dying and teenagers, most of them. Don't feel bad when it's Congress. Not even once. Not even a lick. But I do feel bad about high schoolers, I guess, dying. That sucks. But these people are like, look, and these parents need to go. They didn't do enough. How the fuck is that a crime? Like, how is not doing something a crime? That's weird, right? Because you can't, government isn't supposed to be able to compel your speech or compel your actions, compel your beliefs, compel your opinions. What if they thought those high school kids should die? Honestly, think about it. I know a lot of people who think high schoolers should die because they've met them and talked to them. They determined recently the high schoolers aren't like as a group, not individually. I know there's a good one somewhere. Like when God saw Lot and he's like, oh, this guy tried to sell his daughters to a rape squad so my angels wouldn't get raped. That's the one righteous man. God's like, that's the guy. See, there's got to be a teenager out there who would do that. And the worst part is that a teenager's kids are just old enough for Jared Fogle. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm in a mood. But we have to determine if inaction is criminal liability. If inaction amounts to criminal liability, we got some talking to do, right? Think about just how fucking terrifying it is. The government can criminalize you not having their opinion, you not doing what they would want you to do in that situation. And remember, the government has absolved itself of liability for not doing a thing. That is Castle Rock versus Gonzalez. It's a Supreme Court case penned by Scalia. I've talked about it several times. It's one of the hardest cases to read. It's a case where, husband and wife split up. They've got 3 daughters. The wife gets a restraining order against the husband. The daughters don't have a restraining order. The wife does. But the husband can only, ex-husband, he can only see the daughters at very specific supervised times. He's never violent with the kids. He was only violent with the wife. She has a restraining order against him for that. But it doesn't apply to the kids. And so the supervised times is really just to facilitate the exchange. But he kidnaps the 3 girls. And the wife calls the cops probably 5-6 times throughout the night, telling them where she thinks he is because he's talking to her and stuff. She knows where he's supposed to take him, where he might take them to an amusement park. And they don't ever send an officer out. They send 0 officers. They have concrete information where this guy should be. They don't even send a squad car to his house because the guy wanted to go to lunch. He's like, whatever. And the dad, he ends up murdering the 3 girls. And then he goes to the police station with him and the dead girls in the truck. And he points the gun at the cops and they shoot him. And they're like, job well done on us. Then they open the truck door and they're like, fuck. Right? Now the mom sues the police department because on the restraining order, it says that the police department shall, which is a commanding word in a commanding term of art in law, shall enforce by every means available this restraining order. She gave them every opportunity to do it, and they never even sent a cop. Not once. And not because they didn't have them around, but because no one wanted to. Not because no one wanted to go, mind you. The dispatcher was just like, fuck it. All day. It's like 9 hours that this happened over. It's not like it was 10 minutes, right? They went to he brought the girls to an amusement park. I mean, it was a long time. So when she sues, the government says, you guys didn't you didn't do the thing you have to do by contract that you made me, like, that the restraining order gives me. Government binds itself to a restraining order, says, we will do this. And they didn't. She's like, what the fuck, homies? You didn't do it. Now my kids are dead. Scalia writes the opinion. He's like, the government can't be liable for inaction. And that's civil liability, which is easier. The government is immune from this exact thing that the Crumbley parents are criminally prosecuted for. Now, should the Crumbley parents face civil liability? Maybe. That's a whole different question. But this is about the deprivation of liberty. Government takes you and your liberty away. They can take your stuff. They can take your rights. And that's why we have a higher standard for criminal prosecutions. They said, we can do that. And it's stuck. And of course, the jury is going to convict. And of course, the jury is going to, if the jury has any say in sentencing, it's going to be fucking high because there's dead kids. It doesn't matter if they're actually legally liable for it. There's dead kids. Some motherfucker's going to go to prison. In fact, as many motherfuckers as jurors can find will go to prison. But we have to determine if that's how law should work. If we do, I'm scared of that shit. Sorry, you just didn't know hard enough. Well, fuck me then. Oh, don't worry. We're going to do that in prison. And then we got some Alec Baldwin lies about the Rust shooting. Is really just an excuse for me to talk about the Rust shooting some more because I haven't talked about it in a while. And they're all like, Alec Baldwin's lying about the Rust shooting. Like, yeah. And now they're like, prosecutors are like, he's also careless on the set. He's talking and losing his temper. I'm like, have you heard the phone call to his daughter? I think Alec Baldwin loses his temper. No kidding. Hey, no kidding. Like that's and they're also, but anyway, Alec Baldwin is, they're setting him up to just beat the shit out of him in court. And I almost hope, I kind of do hope he loses because he's deserves it. Anyway, we've got that. I do have a couple other stories we may get to, but if I get talking about dead babies, I don't know if I can. I don't know. Oh shit. So, and I'm sorry, this is kind of dark. I don't know if we're going to get to this, but if we do, it's going to be like the end of the show. Okay. And it's this article about a Washington man accused of raping a 12-year-old girl from Idaho after meeting her on a dating app. I don't know what dating app he has. It might be like the Catholic priest one or whatever. I'm not sure. Or maybe the U.S. gymnastics medical staff. I don't know what dating app. Scroll down. He's like, she told me she's 18. Here's the thing. Like, this is skimming the article. And it says he hid the girl in his room in his parents' house. And she looked dehydrated and malnourished. Like, what? I mean, I couldn't hide a Playboy in my parents' house. How does he? I mean, she told me she's 18, stuffs her under the bed or whatever in a hamper. Like, that's weird. I'm always confused by these stories because, there's some reasonable way in which they accomplish the thing that you go, wait a minute now. That doesn't sound right. And then they tell you, it's like, well, actually, his parents has like a 64,000 square foot mansion or something. It's like, oh, okay, I get it now. They forgot he even existed. That's like the thing. But this one just doesn't sound like that. But it's weird. So we might go through that story because it's just fucking strange. All right. Let's jump into the stories. We got a couple chats to hit first. I have a couple chats. Liam M says, will you be covering the Karen Reed case? Starts on the 16th. Oh, that's the one. That's the Turtle Boy case, right? That he's covering. Maybe. Is it video? I don't know. We've not quite gotten our daytime schedule locked down yet. Guys, a lot of times I'm not actually home. By a lot of times, I mean most days. I'm not home when these trial streams would happen. And I'm sorry, but I'm just not. We had a monkey wrench. I hope to have that solved soon. If nothing else, the end of the school year will solve a lot of that because a lot of my kids' activities just go away. Janiel Vargas says, single payer sucks because it rations the care. Yeah, of course. You always have rationing. You always have someone determining whether you're worth paying for. Goddamn. Adrian Robledo says, so did you know 28 opposition candidates for municipalities have been ended by the cartels that support the party in power today? We're such a joke. Dude, Mexico, I can't figure out why people keep trying to be politicians in Mexico. I can't. Why would you do this? It's like painting a giant target on your dick. Do not do that. Ellie Fan says, hey, Michigan, you made a shit call. So when are you rounding up gangbangers' parents and putting them in prison? Ellie, government is incompetent. None of those gangbangers have met their fathers. You think the government can find them? Not a chance. Not a chance. All right, here we go. Let's get look at the Donald Trump story. T-R-U-M-P. T-R-U-M-P. Some people spell it turnip. Kind of weird. They're from Alabama. They've never even seen a turnip. Okay, here we go. I'll stop doing that. Listen. So I think it was in my announcement for this show. I said this was Trump talking about the Jews, the black people, and abortions, which are the three major voting blocks of the Democrat Party. That wasn't funny either. GB says Nick's Trump is terrible. Is it? Is it though? Do you ever question who I'm talking about? Yes, it's terrible. It's a joke. Really a beautiful, beautiful impression. So good. No, this is from Mediaite. And Mediaite. Purple Cypher says, you would have made bank with the Nikolai Mew trial. I literally miss your commentary so much. Dude, I want to do it. I do want to do the commentary on trial. It's going to sound really sleazy, but so does everything I say. Trial streams are great because I don't really have to show prep for them. Just invite some friends, grab some drinks, whatever you want to do. You just hang out and watch a show and talk about it. It's fun. And people love to watch it with someone. And especially if they like their opinions or whatever, their commentary, they do it. They're great shows. Oh God, I wish I never want to do those. They can be difficult for sure. Like the Johnny Depp is 7 weeks. Well, there's 1 week break in the middle, but 7-week trial is a lot. Really, that's a lot of hours, but it's great for content. It's great for the show, great for subscribers, great for viewers, and it's really good money a lot of times too. Not always, but a lot of times. So you definitely want to do them. Oh man, I just don't want to do it. I'm not home. I was planning on being home. It's been a mess. Okay, so Trump. Oh wait, so as I was saying, Mediaite, very reliable source, a solid source of good journalism. Trump drops new theory on why Jewish people and the black people vote for Democrats in stunning interview. I think we have to listen to this a little bit, right? What is wrong with the live chat in Rumble? I'm not aware of anything wrong with it. It's going. Hold on. Let me plug in my headphones, which are right here. Hedy Lamar says, Nick the Overcomer. Hey, that's private information. You weren't supposed to tell anyone. Here we go. Now, I just want YouTube to know that I'm a big fan of the Jews and Israel. Look, I love high interest rates. I love complex banking rules and regulations. I actually, I mean, it's just fantastic. I also love mass media companies. So I'm a big proponent of the public education system and the diamond industry. De Beers is the greatest company on the planet. I don't know if they like black people, but they both vote Democrats. That's fine. All right, I want to see what this says. I want to hear the interview.
I don't want to talk about the attack of October 7th on Israel because Biden is no fan of Israel. Any Jewish person that votes for Biden does not love Israel, and frankly, it should be spoken to. How a Jewish person.
Yeah, it says they got President Donald Trump on the phone, but you always wonder if like that's not him, but like someone who does a better impression of him doing one. Like that's what. Like, is that really him? I don't know. But he keeps saying a Jewish person who votes for Biden does not love Israel. I mean, okay. Now look, there's no way to do this. God, that's fucking good. This is sweet tea, cream, and vanilla. Fuck, it's good. All right. There's no easy way to do this. So we just have to do it. When was it required to love Israel? And that's a neutral statement. I already said, I love our Israeli man. I love Benjamin gonna rule you. I love Israel, the free nation of Israel. No. When was it required? Look, you don't love Israel. Israel, it's beautiful and one of the promised land, whatever. But like you have to. It's a weird facet of American politics. Like you have to love Israel now. If you don't, they're like, hey, that guy's not loving Israel hard enough. That's a Crumbley parent right there. And like, I don't care if you like or dislike Israel. I'm indifferent to what you like and dislike. I don't give a shit. I just find it weird that it's become like this. Israel's like the greatest thing that's ever lived. Like, can't people have a differing opinion? Can't people be wrong even if that's the way you want to do it? But God, it's strange. Very strange. I mean, it's very prevalent. So anyway.
Can vote for Biden or a Democrat because they are on the side 100% of the Palestinians, and he doesn't know how to get out of it. He's stuck. He is, if you look at what he's done, he is totally on the side of the Palestinians. And
I just have to stop because this man's vest, like I'm not a wide guy, obviously, but this vest is wide as fuck. It's wide for him. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know who this guy is. Real America's Voice?
Frankly, it's incredible that historically Jewish people vote for Democrats. To me, I cannot, and I know you're Jewish, Wayne, and I know you vote for me.
Wait a minute. Historically, Jewish people vote for Democrats. Now I know you're Jewish. I know you vote for me. Thank you. Wonderful votes.
But I don't understand it, and you probably don't understand it either. Maybe it's just a bad habit when you vote for a Democrat, but I don't know how anybody that's Jewish can vote for a Democrat.
That's it. I'm telling you, President Trump, when people ask me, the only answer is that since their great-grandmother and their great-great-grandfather and their grandmother voted for FDR, it's carried down in tradition. But there's no reason today for any Jew to vote Democrat. None. And I say that not just about Israel. I say it about the nationwide protests. He's a racist. His best friend was Senator Byrd. You know, I
really think a lot of it's habit, Wayne. A lot of it's habit.
Yes, Senator Robert Byrd. Robert Byrd. That's how he likes sleep in cars. Robert Byrd, where's the Negroes? Robert Byrd in the trees. Like that guy was fucking, oh my God, great. How racist. And Joe Biden used to say a bunch of racist shit. Like it'd be like an In Living Color sketch if you just listen to old Joe Biden speeches.
But I see you caught on to that when I said it initially in the program.
Yep,
A lot of it's habit.
That's all it is.
Jewish people by habit,
And it's changing.
they vote for the Democrat, and black people by habit vote for the Democrats.
Right.
But now,
Okay, I'm mad now. I'm actually fucking mad now. Look, I hadn't listened to the audio. I trusted Mediaite, right? I want you guys have listened to hold on, we're almost done. The interview's almost done. Well, it's like 7 seconds left.
the African American population we're at the highest level anyone's ever been at as a Republican.
We're at the highest level of African Americans that we've ever been at as a Republican, which means the Democrats aren't executing them in the womb, in utero. That's what Nirvana's album was about. Okay, look at this, though. He has Jewish people, the Mediaite, Tommy Christopher. He has the black people, but I didn't hear Trump say the black people, and now I'm disappointed. That's what I want. I wanted to hear the black people from Trump. Okay, so look at how mad they're about to be. Look at how mad they're about to be. Former President Donald Trump. Well, hold on, I got to do the test. Tommy Christopher. Oh, no. Where is he? Show your face, Tommy Christopher. Hold on, I got to see him. Tommy Christopher. Hold on. The fuck is this guy? Oh God. Oh, of course. All right, here you go. I found him. This is him in the middle here. This guy is Tommy Christopher. And you can see him here where he's preparing to have a long john shoved down his long. Well, he doesn't really have much of a neck. This guy. Oh, here he is again. There's got to be another one with a picture of him. God, what a hideous human. Oh God. No, look. Oh, he looks like if Quentin Tarantino ate 38 hot dogs a day and didn't get to look at feet for a week. So he was just juiced up, like just full of pent up, man spray. Anyway, we'll get back to this. Hey, God, these people are gross. He offered his theory on why black people and Jewish people vote for the Democrats in a stunning interview with right-wing host Wayne Allen Root. Why is it stunning? This interview wasn't stunning at all. You just say stunning. Trump did a phone-in interview on an episode of The Root Reaction. The Root Reaction. Look, I only find that funny because there's a phrase that I don't know if it was popular anywhere, but I heard one time, a long time ago, it was like planting the root was that was a penis. So the Root Reaction. Oh, because it's Wayne Allen Root. I got it. Real America's Voice, during which he went deeper into his riff on Jewish people who vote for Democrats that offended so many a few weeks ago. Did it really offend so many people? Do people actually care? Trump said, oh, Jews vote for Democrats. I mean, overwhelmingly, they do. All right. But then he connected Jewish support for Democrats with that of the black people and decided both groups simply cast their votes for President Joe Biden and the Democrats out of habit. So I don't know if people don't realize this, I guess. Voting for people out of habit is kind of the way politics tend to go. Now, I know everybody grew up and changed their opinions from their parents or whatever, but a huge amount of people get their political opinions from the people they're around, which is, of course, why public school, they wanted to make it mandatory and shit like that and have politics be a huge facet of it. But you get a lot of your base values, which then go along with your political alignment from your parents. So Yeah, it's like from your mother's side, in the case of some demographics, I guess, but you get it from your parents. So yeah, if your parents are voting Democrats and telling you that, look, this is the only way. These are the people who support us. These are the people who give us this, give me that, give the, like, oh, we wouldn't have this check because your dad left. But you know who stepped in? Democrats got us money because I couldn't work. I had to watch you. Mom, you just eat chips or whatever. And that's how it goes. Like, that's how people get their political alignments. They may change later, but yeah, voting out of habit is not, this isn't even fucking controversial. Okay, well, that's the whole interview. I'm not going to read that again. Oh, that's the whole story. Thank you. Thank you, Tommy Christopher, for writing a whopping 3 paragraphs and then plagiarizing, not really plagiarizing, I mean, citing your work. Like, you just transcribed this part of the video, which is good. I told him, Jewish people by habit, they vote for the Democrats, and black people by habit, they vote for the Democrats. Now, the African American population we're at the highest level anyone's ever been. Take that, Zaire. I still call him Zaire. It's not the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I don't like Democrats. It's not a Republican either. It's the Congo. Basically a forest. Sorry. All right. Here's the thing. Of course, Jewish people, black people largely vote Democrat. This isn't a mystery. It's not controversial. It's just a facet of targeted demographics that have high retention rates. They're so shocked when Trump broke like 1% of the black people. Like, why would any black people vote for Trump? It's like, because he might buy their basketball team. Like, he's gonna pay them wages, which are good wages. It's a good wage. They're surprised when Republicans get any black support at all. And then it's like, Trump's like, well, the black people, they vote for Democrats, probably out of habit. Like, what? Oh my God. How can he say that? They're so tall. They're above habits. Like, what do you mean? Like here, guys, white men who identify as Christians, largely out of habit, probably vote Republican. Why is it a habit? Oh, I don't know. Because right now, the Republican Party is a party of conservatism. It's the party of Christianity. It's a party of bowing only to certain authority, but that authority is really important. It's a law and order party. It's about having certain values regarding life, regarding marriage and family. And that's been there for a while, right? Like, that's kind of been the Republican Party since the 80s. So yeah, it's a Republican Party I grew up with. I don't know about you. But it was a Republican Party for quite some time. It's still there. I mean, there are actually elements that Trump brought in more populism, a little bit less of the conservatism. It's just been kind of like a little bit different for some people. But it is out of habit because those are the values that you've seen over and over and over again. It's why we have parties in the first place. It's just the economics of decision making. We take all these issues that people could be in one spot or another on. We go, yeah, but really, like, if you're on this, bam, you're on this side. And that's a shortcut for our brains. Because I don't want to hear what Joe Biden's opinions are on 900 things. There's a couple things that matter. Taxes. That's it. And that's all you need to know. Like, you go, okay, these things. Are you a single issue voter? Yes, as long as it's taxes existing, I'm a single issue voter. The next one is death penalties for Congress. I want it. When? At the end of their term, because what they did was bad. You mean all of them? Yes. All of them, without exception. They get the due process. The due process was getting elected and then being congressman. And then they go to the Liberty Tree and they decorate it every Christmas. I want them to hang the ornaments from the Liberty Tree voluntarily through government compulsion. But that's a single issue voter. If there was one, there's a president who's like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring back the good parts of government. The good parts of the executive branch are coming back. Oh, yeah. And that's when this legislature gets its ass out of line. We hang them from a tree. How many of them? Yes. That guy is president for life, in my opinion. Gone. I don't want anybody else. I don't want anybody. No, not gonna finish that one. It's true though. But okay, so I always love when people are baffled or act baffled. They're not baffled. They act baffled by obvious information. It's observable. It's statistically sticky, right? It repeats. When you get an 80% representation, your voting demographic, every time, it's like probably out of habit. Yes. Yeah. Because if it wasn't out of habit, trust me, they would change from time to time. It would change because there are different people with different ideas that address different issues. But if it's always the same, you either have only one issue amongst an entire demographic that matters, or you have 8,000 aunties whose Uncle Saul left too. And they all are telling every single one of the children that they're raising that you got to vote Democrat because you got to get that money. And that's the way it goes. And that wasn't me talking. I was channeling Drex. Ask him. He hates black women. Ask him why. Nick, have you ever in your life seen one of those creatures be happy? Have you ever seen one? I'm like, Drex, what are you talking about? He's like, they're not happy. They're never happy. Never. They're never happy. Can't make them happy. They don't want to be happy. Like, Drex, this isn't like, why are you talking about this? We were talking about skiing, and I know black people don't do that either. Anyway, but ask him. He's like, that's what they do. That's the culture. It's to talk about how you get the benefits from the government and why you have to keep getting them. I don't know, man. That's habit. That's generational habit. You pass it down from one single mother household to the next. The stats aren't good. It's awful that, like, I don't like that, by the way. There's a lot of reasons for it. It's not just because men are faster than women. It's because men are slower than the police sometimes. Like, there's a bunch of reasons why there's a bunch of single mother households, but it's sad and scary that community is so plagued by it that it's statistically likely to be the case, right? Like, that's fucking broken. And that government broke that, by the way. Jokes aside, government broke that. The welfare system, the abortion system, that broke a black community that had stronger conservative values than the white community back in the 60s, prior to the Civil Rights Act, the early 60s. I'm not going to say that either. But hey, like, that's how it is. People are, you can't say that. I was like, why? It's just Jesse Lee Peterson. I have eyes. I don't need facts. I have eyes. I watched it. You know, I grew up black. We know, Jesse. You're white now. It's funny. We let you in. He's like an emeritus white.
Do you love black people?
I can't take it. I love him. He's the funniest person. He's the funniest person on the planet.
Beta.
Look, I'll take things Drexel would never say for 1,000, Alex.
I just need you to be black and a female.
Okay, anyway, sorry. But this is how it goes. And you point out these obvious things, and they're like, how do you know? It's like, well, I don't know. Any demographic survey will produce these same results. How long? Forever. All of it. All the way back. Like, they just do it for a long fucking time. Long enough that it doesn't matter anymore because the people who didn't do it are dead. From Planned Parenthood. Anyway, we got to get to the Trump abortion stuff because it feeds into larger commentary on abortion that's going on right now. So, like, oh, so the Supreme Court's like, it's up to the states. Now, what does it mean when it's up to the states? We got to talk about that first because I think people miss this. I think people miss what it means to have this up to, oh, fuck. Okay, I fucking hate these things. They're like, get rid of your ad blocker. It's like, okay, I'll try. And then you like turn it off. I want the app, like, refresh the page. And it's like, no, you still got to get the ad blocker. It's like, I don't have it anymore. All right. We have to talk really quickly about what it means, what the Supreme Court said about having abortion be up to the states individually. Okay, so here's how the United States works. Here's how most legal systems work, all of them. Everything is legal until there's a law passed, right? Guys, if there's no law passed, you can just go shoot someone. Blam! What happened? I don't know. He was there, right? With green eyes and long blonde hair. I had to shoot him because he existed. It's like, oh yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't think that's reasonable, but if you want to do that, I guess if there's no law against it, right? If there's no law against it, there's no law against it. So for the longest time, there was no laws against abortion in some states. And other states had laws against abortion. They're like, actually, we want these bitches having these babies. So we're just going to pass a law that says you can't not have the babies. You got to have them. Like, maybe you could have tried something else, make him pull out or whatever. Hit him right before he's ready to go. He just doesn't like it. Now, if he's into it, you're going to have 2 babies. But if he doesn't like it, he'll stop, right? Like, there's all sorts of ways. Show him a picture of, I don't know, Michelle Obama. Shrivel him up immediately. There's all sorts of ways to stop pregnancy. He'll make it all complicated. It's like, oh my God, you got to get these pills. Like, well, okay, take a pill. You take a bunch of pills every day. You're a woman. I'm just kidding. That's a rude joke to women. But you can, you put stuff in your mouth. God fucking damn it. Pills aren't a big deal. That's it. But if you don't want to take a pill, just wrap that guy's dick in a piece of rubber like a garbage bag or whatever, depending on who it is. Go away. Go to town, have fun. No, but there's all sorts of ways to stop this. Or here's a novel approach. You could just not, though. Like, oh God, I want to have sex, but I might get pregnant. Maybe you just don't. Try it. It's not that hard. For guys, it'll be that hard. Oh boy. Like, you go a long time, it's like, oh Jesus Christ. But you're like, this 12 seconds of ecstasy, 18 years of child support, right? Like, that's because we're talking about these are people who are like, whoops. Now, some whoopses people are like, oh, that's cool. Like, whoops, whoa, hey, cool, like a baby. You're happy about it. But other people are like, oh, fuck. He looks like a football, but he can't spike it. And so they get stuck in this thing. It's like, well, you could just not fuck the girl. Like, you could do that. And the chick is like, oh God, I really don't want to be pregnant. That's going to ruin my whole life. Like, I have to divert everything I was going to do. And like, oh, I was going to be a model. You weren't. Oh, that's why you weren't. But like, those are your dreams. Go for it. Well, plus size. Anyway, it's like, I was going to be a model. It's like, well, you had options. And by had options, like not having sex with that guy or any of the others, those were an option that you chose not to do. So now you have this. That until states made that illegal to kill the baby, though, you could just kill the baby. You could do that. And there's states that don't have a law like preventing you from killing a baby. Roe versus Wade was this weird creation of an affirmative right to something. The government's like, no, you have to be able to kill the baby. Like, you have to be able to kill the baby this hard up until this time. And then you can kill the baby like harder until later times, to the point where in Washington, D.C., or well, it was either in D.C. or just out of it. It was, I think it still may be, legal to do a partial birth abortion. Now, what that means is that like the baby's head starts to come out of the vagina, and then they kill it, like gross, like violently. It's not like a nice way to die. Like for the inmates on death row, they're like constantly trying to find like, how can we kill these guys more gently? Partial birth abortions were never gentle. They're horrifying things that they do. That was legal because they never made it illegal to do that. Because since the baby's only part of the way out, we're halfway there. Gross, but it was legal. because the baby wasn't out. And since it hadn't flopped out past the labia, it wasn't a person yet, according to weird law. But that's how they did it. So that was legal. And then with Roe versus Wade, it had to be legal up to 28 weeks for sure. Everywhere had to have 28 weeks, like 28 weeks later or whatever. You had to do that. You have zombie babies. So you had to have that, but that was a different step. It's a different step to create a positive right in the Constitution in that way. And to make it sacrosanct and also to have it not enumerated. Because remember, this right, whatever it is, and they can never really cognize the right because they didn't want to say, it's like, what's the right? Oh, kill a baby. Well, I mean, like kind of a baby. Like it's going to be one eventually. But right now, like Patrick Swayze's hands haven't sculpted it out of the clay into a baby yet. So it's not quite a baby yet. And they're like, so we want to just kill that thing. They never would say that. It's like, what is the right? Well, kill that thing. So they're like, oh, medical privacy or bodily autonomy. But that right has only ever applied to women who are pregnant who want to kill the baby. No one else gets it. Nobody else. It's like, what do you want? Sudafed. Nope. Not you. Put your name on a fucking list, bitch. We're watching for that meth. You're like, I just want to have my nose clean. That's weird that they have to word it that way. So again, Roe versus Wade was a fucking mess. It created this thing. So Supreme Court and Dobbs just like, you know what? That wasn't right. Get rid of that. Now states have control over it. People are like, oh my God, they're making all the babies to be born. It's like, no, only in Texas. In Arizona now, fuck you, baby killers. Arizona's like, we're coming for you, you criminals. We should probably talk about that. The Arizona Supreme Court held up an 1864 law today. 1864 is an interesting year, isn't it? Let's just check this out real quick. I know I'm off topic here, but Arizona Supreme Court. Have you read the news today? Here we go. Jesus Christ. I do want to pull this up. We're going to talk about it like Larry, DUI guy's calling me right now. I'm on his show. Somebody tell DUI guy, I just hung up on him. I'm on a show right now. You can just see, like, if you just go on YouTube, Larry, fucking hell. You could just see it. Lounge King says, I stopped in Clearwater today. Amazing sandwich. Yes. Nelson Brothers. Fucking banger of a sandwich. They got sprouts. You got to have sprouts and thick pickles. Clausen pickles. Very good. Little German for me, but they're pretty good. Wavy cuts like Ruffles chips, but they're thick. They're thick like you. And thick pickles, jalapenos, sprouts, delicious. Low Watermark gifted 20 memberships. Thank you, brother. Very, very much appreciated. Soren Guardia says, an Alex Jones impersonation of globalists always gets a snort from me. Undercover reporting proves Alex is right again. The gay demon frogs are running the deep state. Gay men gossip like a party line. Party line was weird. Like, well, there's like 6 houses over here. What are you going to do? One phone line. Doesn't that seem like that's a problem? Like, can someone pick it up and hear everybody else? Yep. What if one of them is a communist? That's good. Probable Cause says, I'm pro-abortion for the simple fact that it's the number one most effective way to fight crime in the inner city. Jesus Christ. I should have waited till we rumble flip for that one. Wow. Like Owen Wilson. Wow. I can't do an Owen Wilson. Never mind. That was a tangent we don't need. All right. Look at this. Look at this fucking story. The Arizona Supreme Court rules a near total abortion ban from 1864 is enforceable. What was happening in 1864? It rhymes with the Civil War in the South. Losing it was coming. The ruling is on hold for 14 days, and voters will likely have a chance to weigh in on a ballot measure to enshrine abortion rights in the state's constitution this fall. The Arizona Supreme Court ruled Tuesday. Oh my God. Why would they do this? Ah! Don't you love when like someone's haircut? Hold on. YouTube. I'm not bullying this woman on an immutable characteristic. She chose this hair. She picked this. That's her fault. God didn't do this to her. Running as fast as she can towards every Chipotle did. Don't you love when you see someone who can barely waddle? And they got a haircut that makes it look like Usain Bolt was dragging him behind him like a water skier. Jesus. Why are you aerodynamic? In case you have to fall onto a Taco Bell? Like that guy that the Red Bull jumped from like upper orbit. That was just her. She's like, oh, Jimmy Jongas. That's why they now have Baja Blast. God. Okay, anyway. So I try to scroll down. They keep putting this fucking weirdo. Get that window away. Gross. Sorry. That bothers me. It's like, I know you're not on a motorcycle. Your skin would hang down and drag on the ground. Get burned by the pipes. Why is your hair back like you're going fast? You're on the diabetes train. It's a bullet train. The Arizona Supreme Court ruled Tuesday that a 160-year-old near total abortion ban still on the books in the state is enforceable. A bombshell decision that adds the state to the growing list of places where abortion care is effectively banned. Abortion care. We kill you, but it's nice. Like, we're helping. Who they care for? The mom? Oh, we care. Give your babies to Moloch. Anyway, the ruling allows an 1864 law in Arizona to stand that made abortion a felony punishable by 2 to 5 years in prison for anyone who performs one or helps a woman obtain one. Who wants to see an 1864 abortion? Am I right? Like, they didn't have a little vacuum thing like the dentist or whatever that they plug into a woman's vagina and just suck the babies up. What did they do? How did they do that shit? It had to be horrifying. Like, they sew them up with straps of leather. They look like a fucking baseball afterwards. Jesus. The law, which was codified in 1901 and again in 1913, just in case you forgot, outlaws abortion from the moment of conception, but includes an exception to save the woman's life. Look, you gotta wager those abortions were fucking killing women like crazy. That Civil War era law enacted a half-century before Arizona even gained statehood was never repealed. And an appellate court ruled last year that it could remain on the books as long as it was harmonized with the 2022 law, leading to substantial confusion in Arizona regarding exactly when during a pregnancy abortion was outlawed. Oh my God. Oh, guys, you know why I love liberals and progressives, especially the women? Look, I just want to ask, do any of the 3 women in this picture need an abortion? No, they're not worried about it. But why do they always put dad jokes on paper? We are not overreacting. Overreacting. And she has a Forces female shirt. Because Star Wars, like, of course, like, oh, fucking hell. That chick's wearing a flannel shirt around her waist. She doesn't need an abortion for a different reason. She's got that booty covered. No one's hunting. The decision, which could shutter abortion clinics in the state, effectively undoes a lower court's ruling that stated that a more recent 15-week ban from March 2022 superseded the 1864 law. Supreme Court's like, nope. 15 weeks is 15 too many. The Arizona, how do you know when conception actually is? Because it's not when you're like, it's done. You can be like 4 days later. 6 days later, if you were the black chick from the fucking video, right? The Arizona Supreme Court said it would put its decision on hold for 14 days. They didn't give you 15, not even weeks. Writing that it would send the case back to a lower court so that court consider additional constitutional challenges. Like, look, 14 days, figure it out, that haven't yet been cleared up. Attorney General Chris Mayes, a Democrat, said moments after the ruling that she would not enforce the law. Look, I told you it's not moments after. It's like 4 days. Let me be completely clear. As long as I am Attorney General, no woman or doctor will be prosecuted under this draconian law in this state. Mayes said in a statement, adding that the decision was unconscionable and an affront to freedom. I mean, not for the Democrats all the way up to President Joe Biden also blasted the ruling. Is that millions of Arizonians will soon live under an even more extreme and dangerous abortion ban, which fails to protect women. And I love to sniff them when they're little, even when their health is at risk or in tragic cases of rape and incest. And again, we're talking about such a small percentage. It's embarrassing. Biden said in a statement, he called the ban cruel and a result of the extreme agenda of Republican elected officials and also those jungle monkeys that I don't like, who are committed to ripping away women's freedom and vowed to continue to fight to protect reproductive rights. Are women not free? Are women not free enough? They made black people free. No, women aren't free. Oh shit, no, they're expensive. No, that's true. No, I got it. Women aren't free. Okay, no, I get it. Ripping away women's freedom. It's so weird. How is it in any way impeding freedom? Vice President Kamala Harris announced shortly after the ruling that she would travel to Arizona on Friday to get an abortion. No, wait, to continue her leadership in the fight for reproductive freedoms. And we know that gargle monster definitely believes it. Responding to questions from NBC News about the Arizona ruling, a spokesperson for Donald Trump's campaign referred only to the former president's comments on Monday that abortion restrictions should be left to the states. Yes, they should. They absolutely should. Leave them to the states. Supreme Court's like, states can handle this. If your state wants to have negative abortions where it's like, oh, sorry, if you even think about getting pregnant and aborting it in that order, think about getting pregnant and think about aborting it. Even if you're not, if you're 9, go to prison. Go to prison. Like a state should be able to go all the way, just like women, and say no abortions. Sorry. Fucking go to Colorado or whatever. Like, go where you need to get one if you want to do that, but not here, not now. You shall not pass that baby into the garbage can. Look, if strippers unionized, they would get those 9-month breaks all the time, mandatory. Right now, they don't get breaks. You get 2 days, bitch. Get over it. President Trump could not have been more clear. Obama said that all the time. Let me be clear. Could not have been more clear. These are decisions for people, each state to make. Trump campaign national press secretary Caroline Leavitt said, if you're guys, why does universe do this? If you're talking about abortion, if a spokesperson talking about abortions, don't have her last name be Leavitt. That's just don't. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs called for the GOP-controlled legislature, which is currently in session, to repeal the 1864 ban. Though there was no immediate indication that Republican lawmakers in either chamber would take up such an effort. Now they gotta like ban Dungeons and Dragons again. We are 14 days away from this extreme ban coming back to life. They tried to abort it a long time ago. Hobbs, a Democrat, said at a press conference, it must be repealed immediately. While Hobbs said she was sure reproductive rights advocates would appeal the ruling in the 14-day window they were given. To what? What are they going to appeal to? That's the Arizona Supreme Court. The only higher court is the U.S. Supreme Court, which just said that's up to the states. Oh my God. She also suggested the best avenue to counter the ruling would be for voters to support abortion rights in the November ballot. A separate ongoing suit would allow for abortion providers to continue providing services through the 15th week of pregnancy for another 45 days. So get them in there, bitches, so you can still get them out. Men, you know what to do. Fire confidently, fire accurately, and fire often. It is more urgent than ever that Arizonans have the opportunity to vote to enshrine the right to abortion. At least she said it in our Constitution this November. I'm confident that Arizonans will support this ballot measure. I'm going to continue doing everything in my power to make sure it's successful, Hobbs said. And that's when Trump met her at Saks Fifth Avenue in a dressing room. In a 4-2 ruling, the court's majority concluded that the 15-week ban does not create a right to or otherwise provide independent statutory authority for an abortion that repeals or restricts the Civil War era ban, but rather is predicated entirely on the existence of a federal constitutional right to an abortion since disclaimed by the 2022 Dobbs decision that overturned Roe versus Wade. Absent the federal constitutional abortion right, and because the 2022 law does not independently authorize abortion, there's no provision in federal or state law prohibiting the 1864 ban. They added that the ban is now enforceable. Tuesday's ruling is the latest chapter in a decades-long saga of litigation in the battleground state over abortion rights. Reproductive rights groups have sued to overturn the 19th century law in 1971. But when the Roe decision came down in 1973, a lower state court ruled against those groups and placed an injunction on the 1864 ban that remained in effect until the Dobbs decision. Oh, shit. I don't have the article blown up. In March 2022, Republican lawmakers in the state enacted the 15-week trigger ban that only allows you to abort male babies conceived in a trailer park. That's the trigger ban. Which months later, after the Dobbs decision snapped into effect, the law makes exceptions for medical emergencies, but not for rape or incest. Legislation, guys, I know that sounds terrible. I really do. But you have to understand the rape or incest exception to abortion. Conceptually makes sense. Like, oh God, we don't want these women to have to go through this. Like, because it's awful, right? Rape and incest producing a baby that a woman is then, for a woman or often a teenager, a minor, are forced to carry and then have, like, that is, it's a terrible imposition on them. It's horrible, okay? And I think, like, philosophically come to a conclusion that it's the right thing. The problem with it, this is really fucking important, is when you have a rape and incest exception, then what you get is claims of rape and incest where they don't happen. And since they cannot follow those rape and incest claims and they can't ask about it because you don't want a false accusation to end someone, you just want the exception for the poor abuse victim, right? Like, you do want that. And you don't want a false accusation to hit someone. It creates a shield for rape and incest abusers to hide behind. Because to get that exception, they don't require them to make a statement or a police report about it. And the workers aren't going to push it. We don't want that to happen. But we also want we want these victims to come forward with their victimhood and not have to suffer what was put upon them, right? Like, you want that. So if you do a rape and incest exception, you cannot compel them as a requirement to name the abuser. Because if you compel them to name the abuser, they won't show up. Especially in cases of incest, because it's like their dad. How do they get there? How do I get there from here I need a dead baby. Sorry, Jesus Christ. They have to get to the thing. And the scariest part is often the person bringing them is their abuser. They're going to report the abuser in the office, and the abuser's their ride home to where they will suffer further abuse. I know conceptually we're like, yeah, we want an exception for like, we don't want to criminalize that. We don't want these women women and girls who've been through so much to have to go through more. But when you get into the function of how you allow them to have this exception without requiring them to compromise themselves and their safety, you go, oh, fuck, that actually protects the bad guy. It doesn't protect the women at all because they're going to get abused again, and they will. If it's incest, and the majority of rapes being from people you know, likelihood of a re-abuse situation is huge. I know in movies, it's like, it's always some guy at the bar, right? He's like, he looks like some mix of Tom Green, David Spade. Who was that other guy? Andy Dick. Like he's some mix of those in the face, which, oh God, it just looks like Will Smith, but white. And then they were always rubbing like that little fuzzy pedo stash that they have, right? Or like the 3 chin hairs. And they're like, that's always the rapist. No, that's actually not normally the case. It's normally someone close to the victim, a family member, immediate or extended family member, a family friend, someone who's known the victim for a long time. And the likelihood of re-abuse is high because there's often repeat exposure to this person, and a lot of the victims don't have agency to escape. All right? So when you put in these exceptions, know what you're doing. You are rubber stamping recidivism on abuse to these women and girls. It's like you have to figure out how we balance these things. And again, requiring them to name their accuser might be their ride home, which is horrifying. But that's the horrifying reality of incest and rape. The abortion people don't give a fuck about that. They're just like, we got to have some way to kill a baby. Like, that's what they care about. It's gross. Anyway. Litigation resumed. After that decision, as lawmakers on both sides of the issue sought clarity over whether to enforce the 1864 near total ban or the 2022 15-week ban. A state appellate court initially ruled that both of them could eventually be harmonized. Also said the 15-week ban superseded the near total abortion ban, put it on hold. The decision also sent shockwaves through the reproductive rights community in Arizona and nationally. Angela Flores, the president of Planned Parenthood Arizona, one of the state's remaining abortion care providers, we care, said her group would now only be able to provide abortion care through the 15th week of pregnancy and only for a very short period of time. The issue, however, could soon be in the hands of voters. Abortion rights groups in the state are likely to succeed in their goal of putting a proposed constitutional amendment on the November ballot that would create a fundamental right to receive abortion care up to fetal viability or about the 24th week of pregnancy. That would be the old standard, Planned Parenthood versus Casey. If voters approve the ballot measure, it would effectively undo the 1864 ban that now remains law in the state. It would bar the state from restricting abortion care in situations where the health or life of the pregnant person is at risk after the point of viability, according to the treating healthcare professional. That ballot effort is one of at least 11 across the country that seek to put the issue directly into the hands of voters, a move that has the potential to significantly boost turnout for Democratic candidates, emphasizing the issue. Holy fuck, how long is this article? This article is longer than the term allowed before you can abort a baby, or that you have to abort a baby in Arizona. We're going to stop. We don't need to go through this anymore. On this article, at least, I want to see, well, Trump, we saw what Trump said. Leave it up to the states. States are very good at this. They've been doing it a long time. Look at this one, 160 years. That's almost as old as Joe Biden's tumor. That's the last time Jill Biden gave him a fisting, 160 years ago. I didn't make it up. He was fighting the Civil War for the Confederates. He says he was from Scranton. No, he was from Alabama. He owned the blacks. He liked the blacks. He called them the Negroes back then. He also called them the help that we own. That's what he said. I didn't say it. I pay my blacks very well. He didn't pay them. He put them in little shacks. The Black Shacks, he called them. They rhymed, so he liked it. He could remember it. Even back then, he had memory problems. All right, here we go. Guys, it's time to flip to Rumble, which is where I should have said most of these not good jokes. Because racism and Rumble both start with R, and so does really awesome. We're going to switch over to Rumble. I hope to see you there, but we have a couple chats to read. Harvey Weinstein says, keep politics out of pooping. It's sacred to all. The inner city education system, it's very much in turmoil. It's not good. In Chicago, they teach the girls in their reproductive education class. They can't call it sex anymore. It's not really sex if you don't love these people. You don't love them. You meet them at the liquor store. They say, poop it, that's just an abortion. That's what they call it. They're like, you get to do it once a week. Because in Chicago, that's what they do. Merv's Turf is making law simple, is in YouTube jail until Friday when his channel will be nuked. 3 false copyright strikes from the same person. Hashtag what the fails. Hashtag free MLS. Guys, someone tell that motherfucker. Message me. I will help you. Harvey Weinstein says, my Quizzo team name was All You Can Eat Abotchians. It's abortions, but without an R. So it's Asian. It's like those little skewer things that you get at the buffet. And you're like, what are these? Is it chicken? I think it's chicken. Might be a rat. Might be a future Democrat, if you think about it. All right, guys, we're going to flip over to Rumble. Come join me. The link's in the description, the pin chat. If you're on YouTube, if you like that, look, I'm telling shitty jokes because that's what we do here. If you like the show, click the thumbs up. If you don't like the show, click the thumbs down and then click yourself. Click delete yourself. Don't do that. That'd be gross. If you'd like the show, that's not a reason for suicide. Please, and if you're considering that you don't like the show so much that you would commit suicide, please call the National Suicide Hotline and tell them to like and subscribe. All right, guys, we'll see you over on Rumble. I'm going to take a brief pee break. And then we'll be back. We'll get into the rest of the show. See you in a couple seconds. Peace, YouTube. Peace. Rumble, here I come. Get ready for your 15-week abortion.